Boys and girls, this is the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and you're listening to Going In Raw, baby.
Hey guys, this is Charlotte, and you're watching Going In Raw. Going In Raw. That sounds terrible.
What's up, it's your girl Sasha Banks, the legit boss, and you are watching Going In Raw. You like that?
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. And available wherever podcasts can be found. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notify bell next to it to make sure you always get your new Going In Raw notifications. We're also available on the Patreon at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Before we get into our Clash of Champions review, I want to give our patrons a shout out. We've got some new patrons.
New.
Also want to say thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in to our Clash of Champions live stream. We wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't be nearly as fun without the friendos back in our play.
Yeah, wow.
Man. Let's see here. We got some new patrons in. Juanito Turley, Patrick Kennedy, Simon Bullock. I had already read this name before, but I'll read it again. The pubic hair connoisseur, Scott Tenorman. Nobody knows more about the under area than Scott here.
Yes.
Jeremy Russell, Big McLarge Huge, and DJ Booty Dan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your support. Clash of Champions WWE 2019 is
oh,
in the
man.
book.
What an exhausting show.
It's
it
funny.
wasn't even like WrestleMania long.
It wasn't even close to that. Vince seems to have a thing now for 3.5-hour shows.
Which is great.
Thank God.
It's great. This
Thank
was a
God.
4.5-hour show. I'd probably be asleep right now. Some of those shows where, I don't know, it didn't necessarily start out this way, but by the end, it definitely felt like a glorified episode of Raw or SmackDown. You had too many backstage interviews. I don't think there's really a place for that anymore on pay-per-views.
I honestly
Just gonna be matches.
I don't even think that's what it is. I barely even noticed that.
Well, that's just one of many things. I mean, this is like overall, there was a lack of intensity all around.
Did this pay-per-view need to exist?
No, there was no reason for it to advance anything.
It didn't. Every title was on the line, and we had 2 title changes.
The Raw and SmackDown Tag Championship, which could have easily just happened on Raw or SmackDown.
Right.
Here, the show was epitomized by Corey Graves because some of this was his posture the whole show.
Yeah, what was that? Corey seemed completely bereft of any enthusiasm.
And he probably saw the rundown for this thing and was like, really?
Well, I mean, on paper, like, okay. You got AJ versus Cedric in the kickoff that lasted
8 minutes.
maybe
like
5? Was that even 5 minutes?
It started at 12 minutes before 4 o'clock.
And God bless them, they did a lot in that small amount of time.
Yeah, but then I don't know. It's like I expected something that would advance the story. And it was just AJ winning clean, and then post-match there's a beatdown.
Yeah.
Like, what does that really advance?
Well,
like
yeah.
Cedric can come back. Well, AJ, I still have a problem with you because the OC beat me up after I lost. Well, but he doesn't have a case for the title anymore. He lost clean.
I knew it. It's 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Not even 5. And it was a fast-paced move match, and it was in that regard, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there's a lot. They didn't waste their time. There's a lot of high impact stuff.
Right, exactly. But it's like that's the kind of match that the main card really could have used.
Yes.
Also, to be honest, the Cruiserweight title that should have been on the main card. I mean, we say that every time, but it's like we know what those guys can do. They can pick a crowd up,
and they give them 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And didn't help that the finish was wonky.
And this is 2 pay-per-views in a row that Kofi versus Randy goes way longer than it ever should. And these guys just don't have... For all the backstory and all the history they have, they don't have a lick of in-ring chemistry.
Well, here's the issue is Orton's got a very methodical style.
Yeah.
Kofi can put on really good, exciting matches.
Yeah.
It just seems like the pairings they have with him on pay-per-view have not played to his skill set.
Which is sad because the story's been really good with those guys. Yeah.
Why wasn't this some sort of Falls Count Anywhere brawling match?
Given how the last match ended.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Why have another standard match given how the SummerSlam match ended? Given the differences in style, especially at this point in Orton's career, where God forbid he picks up the pace a little bit.
I think this is what it is, and this sounds familiar to what we said last time for Clash of Champions. When they mandatory all the titles being on the line, they don't have time to build all these matches so they matter for the titles. So you get stuff like Shinsuke Nakamura versus The Miz, and you got Sami Zayn in there. That match really did not. That's not a pay-per-view match right there. I mean, it could be with the right story, but in this case, it's not. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. That should have been on the kickoff instead of AJ Cedric. That's easy right there. I thought that the horsewomen stuff was pretty good. Mm-hmm. You did get a story beat with Bayley and Charlotte Flair, and likewise with Becky Lynch and Sasha, even though that match could have easily been on Raw the way it ended.
It's so many of these matches, if they did have finishes that didn't seem pretty straightforward, were just to build to the next pay-per-view. Yeah, that's basically it. Without really advancing the story. It's like, oh, here, this story isn't over. You got to wait till Hell in a Cell to get more of this. Well, give us advancement in the story, like the Bayley one did, because she low-key did some heel moves to win. Yeah,
for sure. It was. I mean, they could have got. It's funny because they could have gotten rid of a couple of these, and it would have gone down. Yeah, if you cut the time of Kofi and Randy Orton in like half,
and then give 10 more minutes to AJ and Cedric Alexander and put on the main card.
Right? Yeah, that's what you got to do. Mm-hmm. Anyways, let's start it off. It's not all bad. It's not all bad. It was a matter of pacing and build.
But also, by and large, it wasn't all bad. It was just largely mediocre.
It was largely bereft of consequences.
Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's just me going into this knowing or realizing this as the show unfolded, or the talent knew that there really wasn't any consequence or stakes involved in a lot of these matches. I'm not going to accuse anybody of phoning it in, because these guys and women bust their tails and put on great performances. So I'm not going to blame them for that. But it's the nature of the creative build to it, lacking intensity, especially after the finish of that Sasha Bayley match. It took the air out of the entire building. Mm-hmm. This seemed like the crowd was absolutely exhausted by that point. And then you put Kofi and Randy Orton in front of him after that match, where the pace is so slow.
There's a larger context also of wrestling these days. How there's a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a lot. I mean, what was it? We're 2 weeks past the one day where there was like 3 shows. Mm-hmm. Nothing went on last weekend, right?
No. Well, tonight it was this show, but then it was also a AAA show in New York.
Yeah.
Which we didn't watch.
But then there was news that came out. So the two we're not going to do like a weekend roundup thing tomorrow. This is going to be our Monday show, and then we're going to come back with a news brief tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, it might be slightly extended based on what news is.
Yeah, because we've got we're talking about WWE right now. We can talk about the WWE draft real quick.
Yeah, that was formally announced by WWE. It's happening October 11th, SmackDown.
And 14th.
And the 14th on Raw, yeah.
Yeah, so John Pollock originally broke this, and then WWE confirmed it was all over the NFL Fox broadcast, and then WWE sent out their own release. So that's cool. So there's also kind of like, we're biding our time. I think right now also we're just sort of biding our time before all the big changes. Mm-hmm. NXT's this week, a couple more weeks until AEW and SmackDown on Fox. Yeah. And then a couple weeks after that, or a week after that, the draft.
Did you notice this in the WWE's announcement? On both nights of the draft, superstars from Raw and SmackDown appear along with personalities from Fox and NBC Universal Programming, who will announce selected picks from each brand.
Who from USA? The Suits people?
Yeah, somebody from Suits.
Right. If Psych was still on, it'd be people from Psych.
Well, if the Grizzlies weren't like in legal issues, they might have a Grizzly on there.
Are they out? They're out, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're still pending legal issues, so I don't think they're going to be showing up to
somebody
announce.
From Law and Order.
Maybe, but those are all reruns.
SVU's still on.
Yeah, SVU's. Oh yeah, on NBC. Yeah, but not on. But the ones they show on USA are all reruns.
Oh, I'm not. Well, that says squarely NBC Universal, not necessarily USA.
Yeah, it's predominantly USA though. I feel like.
Maybe. Anyways, let's talk about this, man.
All right, so the show, the kickoff show in terms of in-ring action, kicked off with Cruiserweight title match: Lince Dorado versus Humberto Carrillo versus Drew Gulak.
Oh, by the way, I lost predictions.
Handily, too.
What was the score? Oh, because that stupid Roman stuff.
It was 50. I think I got 51. You had 39.
So if that stupid Roman match would have swung the other way, you still would have won, but...
Well, I had 46. and you would have had 49. No, you would have won.
Oh.
If Rowan had won.
Really? If just the Roman thing would have swung it?
Yeah.
What a drag. Well, I'm going to get the title. You start talking about the...
Oh, all right. Fair enough. So, like most pay-per-view cruiserweight title matches, they gave this about 10 to 12 minutes on the pre-show. And these guys did the best they could with what time they had, but you get you get these 205 live main events. They give 25 minutes to, and they're awesome. And you feel like you're kind of getting the Cliff Notes version of what you see on a regular basis.
Winner. There you go, man.
Give me that.
You gotta wear that to the supermarket, taking your kids to school. You gotta wear that thing everywhere.
Massive belt.
Congratulations, you have to look like an asshole now. Anyways, as you were saying,
it's another instance where they give cruiserweights insufficient amount of time to fully ply their trade and show off exactly what they can do.
Yep.
This was just a match to further Drew as heel, as an opportunistic heel. He saw an opportunity to win the match with doing as little as possible, and that's what he ended up doing towards the end. There's a couple cool moments. There was like a sequence where Drew and Creo almost seemed like they were working unintentionally in tandem. Drew has Lince Dorado on his shoulders. Creo hits like a tope over the top rope to the ringside area onto Lince, like a doomsday tope type situation. That was cool. There's a cool sequence between Creo and Gulak where Creo goes for a moonsault. Drew gets his feet up, but rather than Creo eating Drew's feet, he like kind of catches him and then puts Drew in a submission move, which isn't usually in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, right.
He's kind of taken a page from Drew's book, which harkens back to the story when Humberto first got brought over to 205 Live, where Drew kind of took him under his wing, say, hey, you can't do all the high-flying stuff. Safe and sound.
On the ground.
Feet on the ground.
Yeah.
And then Lince comes over. He does his own submission move. Drew escapes. There was this cool bit where Lince did like a super Frankensteiner off the top rope. I mean, someone's standing up and he does it.
Yeah.
On Creo, goes for a shooting star press. He misses. The finish saw Creo hit his finisher, and then he's about to go for the pin. Drew comes in, tosses Humberto into the ring post. There's like a rollover bridge on Lince. Lince's right shoulder wasn't down, so we hear the ref say, put your shoulder down. He tucks his shoulder down the mat. Then he counts the pinfall for the finish of the match. It was clunky.
It was the clearest, like it was just pure camera, and they didn't even like shake the camera or do any of their wonky like zooms or anything. It was just camera was clearly
Just
showing us.
Held it there.
Just his shoulder wasn't down. Ref said, Lince, put your shoulder down. He did, and then he counted.
And they showed a replay later in the show, and they cut out that bit.
Well,
where
of
his shoulder was up.
course they did. Of course they did.
Just clunky. Just a clunky little bit. After that, U.S. title match, which I was flabbergasted that was on the kickoff show. I would have thought that's main card material.
I saw a lot of people on Twitter sort of immediately calling that when it was announced because it's the U.S. title. I mean, I agree. I don't think it should have been, but it didn't really surprise me all that much.
I think it was less the title on the line than it's AJ Styles, man.
I know. I agree. It's weird.
But then when I saw that, I was
it's
like,
the
oh,
US
for
title.
sure, Cedric's losing this match. They're not going to have the hometown guy and Cedric lose on the main card, I guess.
Yeah.
So this match started off really fast, and it was only 5 minutes, so it kind of kept that pace. Where as soon as the bell rings, AJ charges towards Cedric. Cedric hits a Michinoku driver, gets a 2. He follows that up with tope outside, tosses AJ back in the ring, does the springboard neuralizer kick. AJ kicks out again. Cedric goes for a springboard clothesline. AJ pushes him off the ropes. Cedric falls to the ringside area. AJ hits a brainbuster on the apron.
Yeah, that was.
And then the Styles clash onto the mats outside the ring.
That was pretty rad.
This is all within like 90 seconds, 120 seconds of the bell ringing.
Again, this is a less than 5 minute match.
Yeah. So we're back in the ring. There's a little more back and forth going on. Eventually, AJ puts Cedric in the calf crusher. He gets the ropes. And then AJ hits phenomenal forearm and the Styles clash for the win.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was a strong showing in the sense that Cedric pretty much threw everything he could at AJ save for a lumbar check.
Yeah.
And it took both of AJ's finishes to get the win.
He's got to be smarter.
Yeah.
You got to be smarter.
Afterwards, AJ waves the OC to come down to the ring. They start beating up Cedric, and that was it. Yeah. No one makes the save.
No
Viking
friends.
Raiders.
No friends. You got to make friends backstage.
Well, I thought Cedric and the Viking Raiders were friends. They kind of established that on last week.
Maybe Rowe wasn't huge on Cedric chugging some beer in the middle of the ring.
Wasn't Hanson drinking beer too?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
That's his tag team partner, man.
Probably not happy about that either, but he stuck with him. He's a tag team.
Well, I mean, it's something
I
feel like
go for a singles run.
A simple conversation could have solved if there was any issues there,
I don't think they talk backstage unless the camera's there.
It's true, unless someone blocks them
There's
standing
no
next to each other.
communication. Exactly.
Main card starts. First match of the main card for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman versus Rudolph.
They really should have scheduled this just before the Universal title match.
Agreed.
That'd have been awesome.
So the emotions were fresh.
Yes.
Instead of them having to wait 3 hours till their main event bout.
No clean shirts.
Yeah. This match, how long was this match? You still have the times up? This felt very short.
I can do it.
But also it was relatively fast-paced. It was fun enough, but it just didn't feel memorable.
Yeah, I get the feeling I'm going to say this was probably 8 minutes long.
It sounds fair.
And a lot of that was it wasn't fever pace at all.
Yeah, but it wasn't slow by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it was a decent match. It was fun enough. This was
9:40.
Oh, okay, 9:40.
Almost 10 minutes.
All right.
That sounds about right. Early on, Bob Roode goes for a glorious DDT. Braun just tosses him. So Braun's in there for a while. Eventually, he gets the hot tag to Seth. Seth is going to go for a stomp on Bob Roode. Dolph trips him up. Bob Roode goes for the glorious DDT on Seth. Seth escapes, hits a suicide dive on Dolph. He goes back to the ring, eats a spine buster from Bob Roode, but kicks out at 2. Braun gets in the ring. He shoulder tackles Roode into Seth inadvertently. And then he goes for Dolph. Dolph gets out of the way, so we get another ring post spot with Braun.
Him and that darn
every
ring
time.
Post. Every time. It's his thing.
And gives Roode an opportunity to hit a glorious DDT for the win. He pins Seth Rollins.
Yep.
New tag team champions for the Raw show. Rudolph.
Mm-hmm. The Vultures?
Did they say that tonight?
No, they just said that one time.
The Vultures of the Raw tag division.
Didn't stick. I thought it was going to stick. It didn't stick.
It doesn't seem like something that would stick.
Even their freaking entrance is awkward. Because Dolph comes out first, and then Bob Roode kind of comes out afterwards.
That's kind of like their dynamic altogether, though. And that's how they actually played it up their second week as a tag team. It was pretty much, hey, they wrestle as two singles wrestlers who have to wrestle matches together.
Yeah.
And they pretty much framed it as Dolph carries the load.
Yeah.
And Bob helps out around the edges.
Well, baby steps. Bob just came out of the 24/7 division.
Well, now he pinned Seth Rollins and secured his team the tag team championship.
So right after that match, Braun was backstage, and he was interviewed by Charlie Caruso. And she said, Braun, what's up with that? And he said, Seth Rollins is going to get these hands because he's not my friend anymore.
And he lost the tag team. He lost the tag team championship.
Yeah, Braun didn't claim any responsibility for
that. So Seth's get these hands. Braun's going to be Universal Champion. We go directly to an interview with Becky. Becky says, I got to disagree with Braun. Seth and myself are going to walk out of here with our belts.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're engaged, so I guess she has inside information as to that.
She's the one leaking those betting odds now.
Ooh.
Anyways, after that, we had Charlotte. Oh, and Becky also had some words about the other horsewomen.
Yeah.
Charlotte versus Bayley happened next for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte came out on fire with a boot, got 2. And then, how long was this match?
It was 4 minutes. It was really short.
It was a really short match, too. Yeah, under 4 minutes, 3:45.
Super quick. So at one point, Charlotte sends Bayley into the corner, and so Bayley, pulling a Yano, goes in the bottom turnbuckle and unties the pad and takes it off, sends Charlotte into it, pins her. As soon as the ref counts through, that bell rings, she gets her belt and bolts up the ramp.
I loved that. I thought that was great. She had some DVDs to sell.
Yeah. But I mean, we've been kind of monitoring the Bayley heel character situation in terms of the wacky, wavy, inflatable tube men, fan interaction down the ramp. She had the tube men. There was still interaction down the ramp. No hugs, however, but there was, there was a
Bayley
fan,
cosplayer.
Yeah, a fan dressed as her. She went and gave her 5 or something. Not a hug, though. But to see some real concrete heel maneuvers here.
The thing that cracked me up was there was a little girl, a little tiny one, who was in the front row or in the entrance there, and Bayley looks at her, goes and gives her a high five. And you just see the look on Bayley's face, it seemed like a very real realization of dude, how am I gonna pull this off? It's like when Goldberg turned heel, and then he immediately went backstage and said, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I've got too many Make-A-Wish kids that rely on me. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Bayley, she probably is very interested in adding some dimension to her character. But at the same time, when you look at those little kids, that's got to be kind of difficult. That's got to be an interesting situation right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, that was like the most profound story beat of this whole show, probably. Mm-hmm. Bayley doing kind of heel stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Next, we had the Revival taking on the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. How long was this one? A fun enough match, but this felt like it could have been a really good.
Majority of this, let's see,
10 minutes, 10 and a quarter.
Yeah.
It felt like it could have been a really good SmackDown main event.
Yeah, it's weird. So again, this was the kind of match So there has been a story built here with the Revival and Randy Orton and Kofi and all that kind of stuff.
In fact, the Revival actually had FTRKO themed gear. They had hoodies.
They had like a new
trunks.
logo thing.
Yeah.
With like a viper in the middle and then there's sort of skulls or something.
Top guys.
Like a slayist thing on the other side.
Kind of, yeah.
But the New Day just sort of kind of laid down for them,
Like Xavier Woods was taken out of the match for the vast majority of it.
Yeah, he was sleeping.
He eventually got back in, got a hot tag from Big E, did some damage, but then Big E got back in, and then Dash Wilder avoided Big E's apron spear. And then Big E eats the Shatter Machine on the floor, takes him out for the finish of the match. Revival hits the Shatter Machine on Xavier Woods. They don't pin him, though. Scott Dawson goes to the knee that they had worked a few weeks back on Xavier Woods, where they jumped off the top rope and banged up his knee.
Yeah.
Takes off the knee brace, rips his awesome tights.
Those are great tights.
Yeah, and puts him in a knee bar, and Woods has to tap after trying to get to the ropes and not be able to make it there.
So again, this is one of the matches on the card that I thought was actually pretty darn good especially because that finish. The finish added to the story.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to hurt these guys. They're trying to humiliate them.
They're trying to take them out. Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't, they hit their finish, they could have easily gone for the pin. Mm-hmm. Instead, make this dude tap out. Mm-hmm. That was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I want to make him suffer a bit.
I liked it.
After that, we get Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross interview. While Alexa's talking, the boom lowers into the shot, which is weird because Charlie's there with a microphone in her hand in Alexa's face. Camera widens out. It's R-Truth. And Alexa's like, hey, everybody. R-Truth's on the set.
Well, he says, hold on a second. He says, I just wanted to make sure everybody hears your wonderful voice.
Yes.
She's like, thank you. I do have a wonderful voice. Let me see this. She pulls it down and says, everybody, R-Truth is here on the set. Come get him. Come get your 24/7 championship.
Yes.
And then, the mad world thing happens.
Loser locker room runs in, yeah.
Which is, I'm very excited about the fact that they have whittled that loser's locker room down quite a bit.
Yeah, numbers were dwindling. That leads us to the Women's Tag Team Championship bout. Fire and Desire, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville taking on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Pretty early in the match, the 24/7 division runs into the ring, middle of the match. Alexa tries to roll up R-Truth. No luck, though.
This was a 9-minute long match that was probably about 4 minutes of actual action.
Yeah, I felt that way.
Because between Alexa was working face, and it was pretty entertaining stuff. But it was by and large a lot of showboating on both sides. Mm-hmm. She got a couple of stiff slaps in.
Yeah, there was that double forearm shot from between her and Mandy Rose, I think.
Yeah,
that was cool. Eventually, though, it's Nikki Cross. Fire and Desire hit the finish. Nikki Cross breaks the pin. She gets the hot tag. Mandy misses her V trigger. Nikki hits her draping, twisting neck breaker to get the win. Tag champion successfully retained.
Yeah, that was saw that one coming.
Yeah. After that, for the Intercontinental Championship, The Miz taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. He had a cape, not quite as awesome as the one he wore at Wrestle Kingdom a few years back.
All he needs is
much longer.
He needs a crown.
Well, the crown was cool.
They're not going to do a crown because that's King of the Ring.
This cape felt more Party City than the one he had at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, well, Party City has some cool stuff.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Just makes you pine for that particular image of him in the long cape, floor-length cape, with the crown.
Yeah, things were cooler back then.
They definitely were.
So Sami Zayn comes out first. He's still selling a neck injury and the neck brace. I like that.
Thanks to the choke slam from Undertaker.
I thought that was good, and he mentions that. But then he calls Shinsuke Nakamura King of Strong Style.
That's cool.
The artist. And he's about to beat you up, Miz.
Yeah.
Miz was, for his part, was taking this whole match seemingly way too lightly.
Yeah, he's
almost.
pretty blasé, sitting on the top turnbuckle, wait for the match to start.
So one cool thing they did, one change of presentation, was they dimmed the house lights
For the
and just had a
introductions, yeah.
spotlight over them for the introductions.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a very cool addition. I thought that was
Yes,
pretty neat.
Agreed.
I don't know if that's going to be a normal pay-per-view thing now, or if they did this specifically because it's Clash of Champions and maybe they did this
They had been
historically.
doing it on occasion for takeovers.
They did it for NXT UK.
Yeah.
They did it for that and then TakeOver, I think, also.
Yeah. So there's something they've been doing in NXT, trying out. So hopefully they're bringing it up to the main roster because it does lends it a more important feel.
I think it looks great, yeah.
They should keep the house lights down too for the actual match. I think that's great when they do that. So Sammy's doing his ringside commentary thing. That is until the Miz gets in his face, grabs the mic out of his hands, just chucks it up the ramp.
Yeah, it was a good throw.
That was great. One of the things that Miz was doing to try to get the upper hand was working over Nakamura's leg, thinking if he knocks his legs out from under him, he can't kick him.
Yeah,
Sound strategy.
good strategy.
Didn't really work for him, though. At one instance, he catches a kick from Nakamura, puts Nakamura's leg on the rope, and kicks the back of Shinsuke's other knee. And then later on, Miz avoids a Kinshasa, slams Nakamura's knee on his own shoulder, and then puts Nakamura in the figure four. Shinsuke gets to the ropes. Miz kind of pulls him back towards the middle of the ring, tries for another figure four. Nakamura rolls him up. Miz kicks out. Miz is running the ropes. Sammy grabs his ankle. Miz is down there arguing, takes Sammy's hat off him. And then Nakamura nails him with a vicious knee to the back of the head.
That was rad.
Why is that not a Kinshasa? It's the exact same thing.
I know.
Just
And
wasn't facing him.
it takes him like off guard.
Yeah.
It was good.
It seemed like that should have been enough to finish.
Should be the finish. It's one of those weird wrestling things.
It wasn't. Miz kicks out. Nakamura goes for another Kinshasa. Miz avoids it. He hits skull-crushing finale, but Sammy gets up on the apron and starts distracting the ref.
Oh, yeah, he's getting physical with the ref.
Yeah.
Ref is hugging him. Miz goes ringside, chases Sammy, eats a knee from Nakamura, who puts him back in the ring. Shinsuke hits Kinshasa for the win and retains his Intercontinental
Another
Championship.
match that would have been a really good SmackDown match.
Yeah.
Because it was a fun match.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fine. It was just it's one of those things where if you don't have pay-per-view matches should be, that's why takeovers work so well. And I don't need like them to start trying to fit into the takeover mold, but like not everybody should have a match.
Yeah.
Not everybody needs a match.
Well, and also takeovers benefit from having several weeks of build.
Yeah.
They feel important because, as
Several
you said,
months
not
of build, yeah.
everybody has a match.
Yeah.
You get 5 of these 6 matches. Mm-hmm. So the matches on there actually feel important.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be like 7 matches. Each one gets a big chunk of time.
What, on WWE pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
That's how it should be.
Agreed. Not 11. There's 11 matches on this card.
This is Clash. They have too many titles, too.
It's part of it, yeah. That is part of it.
I mean, do you really need a Raw and SmackDown? Like, how long ago was it that the Revival were a Raw tag team?
No, like a month ago.
When did they officially switch over?
Well, it's wild card rule. They never did.
Draft will be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. After that, probably the best match on the card, save for the finish. Sasha Banks taking on Becky Lynch. One of the few matches on here that really did have big fight feel.
It did, totally, yeah.
And they actually played it up pretty wonderfully. Because even early on, they were both trying to put their respective submission moves on each other to try to get this match done early.
Mm-hmm.
So like Sasha would try to put the bank statement on Becky. Becky would escape, transition to disarmer. Sasha would escape. And it was, like later on, Becky's going for a lariat. Sasha catches it, goes right into a bank statement. Becky powers out, hits the Bexploder. Sasha hits the top rope meteor, only get to 2. Sasha goes to the bank statement again. Becky rolls through, goes for a disarmer. Sasha rolls her up. Becky kicks out, but then transitions right into a disarmer. Sasha gets to the ropes.
The thing that I like about this match also, like around this time too, is that both of these competitors were really selling every moment. You juxtapose that with Orton versus Kofi. At any time, do you get the feeling that Orton cares about the WWE Championship? Like, Kofi kind of does, but I never get the feeling that Randy Orton cares about what's on the line. The title doesn't need to be any part of this beyond, I guess, stripping Kofi of some, dignity by taking the title away from him. But, like, neither guy, when it's move after move after move, neither of them were selling that any of it hurt or mattered or anything. Like, there was no emotion to it. It's like, yeah, they sell, ow, that hurts.
Yeah.
But there was no emotion behind it.
That's why I kind of felt like there should have been something added to this match to build off the previous one. But there wasn't. It was just the same match.
It was, yeah.
And if the feud isn't going to build, and there's no point in continuing it.
Like, the whole point was for Kofi to, like, beat Randy Orton. And he beat Randy Orton. And it was like a big old who cares.
Yeah, no.
That's why I was really hoping. And, I mean, I was immediately when I made the pick, I was like, yeah, okay, that's probably not going to happen. But it's like, okay, you have Orton go over here, have the title. That's the one thing he might not care about it, but he knows that Kofi does.
Yeah.
And then you have something really big going into the next one. It's Kofi basically trying to get back his dignity.
Yeah.
All he did was win clean here.
I know.
Anyways, go back. I'm sorry.
So
go back to the other match.
I'll just add this, similar to the case with Cedric and AJ. Like, what case does Orton have for another title match?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have to go after Kofi on a personal level to try to anyway justify it. But if you look at it from a competitive standpoint, he just lost clean. Mm-hmm. Back of the line, Randy.
Well, he's got to push his buttons again, and it's going to be so transparent.
I know.
And it's going to be, why didn't Kofi just say, I beat you, back of the line, pal?
I know.
Stupid,
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, we can go back.
Back to this. Yeah. So Becky's in the corner. Sasha hits a backstabber on her. Hits another in the middle of the ring, puts her in the bake statement. This is like the one moment where you really thought, oh, maybe Becky could maybe lose.
Becky,
middle of the ring.
The look of desperation on Becky's face while she was in this predicament was so good. It was so real.
And like the struggle getting out of it felt real too. It was a little clunky. The roll through she did to get to the ropes felt a little clunky.
Yeah.
So she escapes. A chair is introduced. A couple of them, in fact. So the ref is dealing with one chair. Sasha grabs the other one and hits Becky with it. Follows it up with a Shining Wizard. Becky kicks out. So then Sasha gets the chair. The ref grabs it from her, tosses it down, starts arguing with her a little bit. Becky picks it up, swings at Sasha. Sasha gets out of the way. Becky nails the ref in the shoulder.
Yeah. Ref
with the chair.
Collapses.
Oh, man, base hit.
Yeah. I didn't know that he carried his... he can get a concussion from a shoulder injury.
I know. So he crumples. He just falls on the mat. He's there for what? 5-10 minutes?
At least 5
half
minutes.
the match.
At least 5 minutes.
At least half the match.
Man.
So then Becky starts going after Sasha with the chair. Sasha gets out of the ring. She tries to flee through the crowd. Becky gives chase. They're brawling up the stands, up into the crowd. Becky puts Sasha in the disarmer through the handrail up in the crowd, reminiscent of the Sasha Charlotte.
Last woman standing.
Yeah, a little false count anywhere type situation they had on Raw a couple years back. They eventually fight up to the concourse. Like fight over the span of one section, back down the stairs, down towards the ring. Ref is still out. Back in the ring. Becky. Oh, they fight back in the ring, and commentary just says, "Oh yeah, Becky was DQ'd."
Mm-hmm, yeah.
The ref is out.
Yeah.
The ref is the one to make that. How many times have we seen a ref bump, an accidental ref bump, and it's all good?
So that would have kind of made sense had the referee gotten up and walked over to commentary, but when they came back to the ring, the ref was still there lying in a puddle of his own ref. So it's not like he got up
and called for the bell or anything.
I know they've done things like ref has gone to some head, like they did this last week or 2 weeks ago.
He went to instant replay.
I think it was John Cohn went to replay. And it's like we had literally seen that maybe a small handful of times over the past 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like they do that a lot, even though it's justified a lot. The ref never went over to anybody and said anything.
Well, he was unconscious in the corner of the ring.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a lame finish.
It was pretty silly.
So they're still brawling. Becky lays into Sasha with a chair some more, slams Sasha's face into it, and then puts her in the disarmer through the back of the chair. Sasha's tapping out. Then a couple other refs come down, break it up, and then they announce to the arena, Becky's been DQ'd. Still champion, though. They play her music. It's just a bad, confusing ending to what was a really good match that the crowd was into.
Yeah, I feel like this is the kind of thing that they could have hyped this as being something that was too urgent to be on a pay-per-view, so they do it in the main event on Raw and hype it up as a big Raw main event. And this finish is perfect for that. You know what I mean? Like this. Remember, like back during the Attitude. I don't want to be one of those guys. Remember in the Attitude Era?
Yeah.
But I remember like you'd always have like big matches on Raw, and they'd almost always end like this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that was the cliffhanger to keep you going for next week. This is that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like even if it's not so much the DQ finish, I get that. It's to have unconscious ref relate that telepathically to commentary before it's even announced in the arena. Like if everything had just played out how it did, and then after the refs break up the disarmer through the chair, they go and try to get the ref up, and the ref's like, huh?
Yeah.
What happened? Oh, she hit you with a chair. Oh, yeah? Ring the bell.
Baron Corbin is now the ref.
Yeah, ring bell.
Ring bell.
And then they announce, okay, that's fine. It's just don't have the finish, the decision of the match be announced by commentary while the ref is unconscious in the ring.
Yeah, it is very silly, but just the general idea of this ending in a scrum or in a wonk or whatever you want to call it, I think probably should have been a bigger deal on Raw as opposed to that's how you finish a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they do that plenty, but I feel like this is sort of a bigger deal than that.
It is, but that's kind of how they generally handle a lot of these B-level pay-per-views. That they're placeholders to extend the feud rather than a means to really advance story or blow off feuds. Hopefully this next match serves as the blow-off for this feud, but I have a feeling it's not going to. Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston. I feel like we've already talked about it ad nauseum. I suppose we can go through it a bit more. But everything that you said about it is true. It felt in a lot of respects like a carbon copy of what we got at SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. The only difference is we got a clean finish.
Yeah.
I mean, there was moments in the Kofi Kevin Owens feud. Like I appreciate and I like the story overall they're doing with Kofi. They're putting huge name after huge name, massive obstacle after massive obstacle in front of Kofi to dispel any notion that he has not earned the right to be WWE champion.
Right.
I think at this point he has cemented himself. Yes, this isn't like a title a thank you title reign. Like you could say about me, Christian, when he got the World Heavyweight title. Like,
we're way past that.
Thank you for your service to the company.
Yeah.
They've done a heck of a job establishing Kofi as a world champion. His feud with Joe was great. His feud with Kevin Owens was pretty good. Matches were decent. But then, like, the feud with Dolph, they had, like, one good match. The cage match was a stinker.
Yeah, it was.
And I understand Randy is a huge name. They have history. It's just they're just not a good matchup now.
Yeah,
10 years ago they might have been.
And
they're
well,
not
the funny
now.
thing is like all the in-between bits, all the non-match stuff is actually
great.
really good.
It's really good.
Like the introduction to Revival especially has been really good. And I think that was one thing that was missing from this is you are a part of that team, right? And it just feels like it feels like Randy Orton doesn't care about that.
It felt like when Cody Rhodes showed up at Wrestle Kingdom with little tiny Bullet Club logos on his boots, but no other Bullet Club.
It's like, do you care about being in Bullet Club? Are you actually part of Bullet Club? Yeah. It's like with Randy Orton, it's like, do you even know their names? Do you know which one's which? Like, this is supposed to be a thing.
Yeah, it's Dash Dawson and Scott Wilder.
Do you know which one's which? Don't need to.
Bald one's Dawson.
Scott.
Dash, yeah.
Jash? Did you say Jash?
Like if this had been like an overbooked thing, I'd have been fine because at least it would have been fun.
Overbook it in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, have the Revival come out and try to interfere.
Right.
New Day, have Xavier Woods even kind of limp out or something.
Right.
Give the Revival some comeuppance.
All in 10 minutes.
Yeah. To make it fun. There's really anything fun about it.
The matches aren't fun. The
No.
feud is fun. The matches aren't.
The matches
fun.
are not fun. But yeah, it was a situation where Orton hits an RKO too close to the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi got his foot on the rope. Orton goes for the punt, which we all know they don't let him do anymore.
Yeah.
He misses. Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise for the win.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really worth going through the other beats in the match because they didn't really go anywhere.
Dude, if you've seen any Randy Orton match or any Kofi Kingston match, it's that. It was just like, you do your moves, I'll do my moves. You do your moves, I'll do my moves. After that, we had a Street Profits promo, so I immediately started tuning out. But then, King Booker, the royally ruling over the WWE Universe.
Oh, man, so good.
It was awesome. He was doing his spiel about his talking about who he thinks is going to win King of the Ring, but then he was interrupted by Angelo Dawkins, who then asked for a knighthood.
You want to be knighted, you want to be Sir Angelo Dawkins.
So he can walk up into the club and try to get his smash on by letting people know he's a knight. He's a Sir Angelo Dawkins now. And then, of course, King Booker had to say, tell me you didn't just say that.
Yeah, he tells them to get their minds right.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing, maybe?
Mm-hmm. I hope so. Foreshadowing what? Them actually fighting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping it was foreshadowing Booker T managing him. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Screw it. Dub them the new Harlem Heat. And have them wear that goofy Harlem Heat outfit again.
Oh, gosh.
That was a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I still would love to see Booker T manage them.
Oh, heck yeah, man.
Wouldn't that be the greatest
That'd
thing
be
in the world?
amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Amazing.
And then sometimes he tries to get involved in the match.
Yeah.
He's like, no, Booker, not anymore.
No, I'll do a bookend.
Here's the manager. Do a spinneroonie. Now we're way past that. We can do better things than the spinneroonie.
Scissor kick.
After that, we had Roman versus Rowan.
Yeah, so Roman comes out first. Rowan's like clad in all leather. Definitely not aligned with Daniel Bryan anymore. So Roman meets Rowan at the foot of the ramp. They start brawling already. This is a no DQ contest.
Oh, yeah. So you knew there was going to be a camera crane that gets involved.
Oh, gosh. Who decided that was going to be an important story beat? So they're brawling all around the ringside area. At one point, Rowan dumps Roman to the announce table, then into the barricade. Rowan's charging after Roman. Roman moves. Rowan hits the ring steps. Roman goes and gets the kendo stick. Never gets to use it because Rowan picks up the ring steps and drives him into Reigns, and they start brawling up through the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
They brawl around there. Back ringside, Roman hits a drive-by. This is the highlight of the match next. Roman's clearing the announce table. He turns around, and Rowan absolutely destroys Roman with the greatest fun splashes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It's like a bus ran him down. It was amazing.
It was so good.
It was great.
Rowan has one of the best fun splashes.
He really does.
It's fantastic.
And when the camera is like eye level and stationary.
And he just comes from out of frame.
And he comes from out of frame.
It
and you
is
see
amazing.
it. Yeah, it's really great.
It's so good. It's so darn good. So then
Rowan throws some steps into the ring.
Steps in the ring. He's about to try to hit Roman with them. Instead, Roman hits a Samoan drop. Then a Superman punch. Only gets a 2 count, though. Back ringside, they're brawling some more. Rowan power bombs Roman Reigns from the announce table. Puts Roman back in the ring. Only gets a 2 count.
Mm-hmm.
They start brawling up over by the timekeeper's area. Rowan hits Roman with the ring bell in the back of the head. They're brawling through the crowd towards the tech area. Rowan hits the iron claw on Roman, puts him through a table. But then he has to pick him up and carries him up to the stage because he has to pin him in the ring. It's not falls count anywhere.
Right.
And then, Rowan sees camera crane.
Deadly camera crane.
Light bulb goes off. He tries to hit Roman with it. Instead, Rowan picks up what looks to be like a C-stand or a microphone stand or something.
It's like a heavy, good stand.
Metal something.
Yeah.
Hits Rowan in the gut with it. Then he grabs camera crane, swings it at Rowan. And then again, Rowan goes down towards the ring. Roman, at the top of the ramp, runs to spear him and eats a massive boot. It's Luke Harper.
Luke Harper's back. He has learned how to do a southern accent.
Apparently.
He has returned.
Apparently Vince does have something for him.
The reporting from Wrestling Observer this past week that
apparently in error.
Yeah, luckily we did that as an overrun.
Yeah.
Not as a news brief.
I mean, it was a very definition of non-news. He's like, the update is there is no update.
Apparently our big cast news brief should have been non-news as well because all is not right with Big Cass, and he probably won't be headed to WWE anytime soon.
No, especially not with Pat Buck working backstage for WWE.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
definitely not going to happen. So back in the ring, Rowan and Harper are taking it to Roman Reigns. Rowan hits an iron claw on Roman to get the win. I thought it'd be Daniel Bryan helping Rowan. I'm still not sure how they're going to justify Harper aligning with Rowan, especially because Rowan just said the whole thing like, I'm done being manipulated. That was kind of the dynamic with the Bludgeon Brothers, was that it felt like Harper was the guy.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that all plays out.
According to...
They're wearing metal shirts, both of them. So
this is going up a little bit later. So
they're metal friends.
I think I can mention this here, but according to the Fightful Select email I just got, by the way, if you want really good, awesome breaking news bits, emails, Fightful Select. Check it out on the Patreon.
Worth every cent.
Daniel Bryan was there tonight.
Yeah.
We just didn't use him.
Yeah.
So
hopefully we'll get some explanation. Probably not. After that, Seth interview.
Hey, Luke seemed really happy to be there. Harper seemed really happy.
He's going to have a blast until April. when his contract's up.
He's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm happy. I'm so happy to be here." Extension? Oh yeah, I'll look at that.
Here,
I'll
we'll
look at
think
that
about it.
later,
We'll think
yeah.
about it. I'll think about that.
I'll think about that later.
Think about that later.
I gotta catch something.
I gotta go car.
Yeah, card. I'm so happy to be here though.
It's great.
Later.
No way would I rather be home right now collecting checks for doing nothing.
Extension? This pen doesn't work.
This pen doesn't work.
I think there's a pen around the corner over
There,
there.
I thought, oh, no pen. See you later. it was Luke Harper that ran the Roman Reigns car. He was trying to get out of the arena, say to sign contract extension.
On his 6,000 month extension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins interview, whatever. I mean,
We're not friends anymore. We're not
Yeah.
a team.
God.
Tag team. It's not team. We're not a team. We lost as team. You know, you might have a rematch.
it wasn't my fault. I didn't shoulder tackle our opponent into me. I mean, like there's something like the dynamic of having two guys who are feuding and also tag team members. I guess it doesn't usually go longer than like a one pay-per-view cycle, but maybe they should have this time because it would have been something a little different.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyways, main event: Braun versus Seth. I mean, they just kind of booked Braun as indestructible as they could with him, while still having him lose. Early on, he goes for a power slam. Seth escapes, chop blocks Braun's knee. He hits 3 super kicks, follows with a frog splash. Ref doesn't get down to make a 1 count. Braun kicks out.
Yeah.
Seth goes for a stomp, but Braun catches him and just tosses him kind of like powerbomb style on the mat. Seth evades Braun, sends him in the ring post. Hits 2 springboard knees, goes for a third. Braun catches him and just does the thing where he puts him over his arm and clubs him with the forearm type deal. They're brawling ringside. Braun charges towards Seth. Seth dodges, drop toe hold, sends Braun kind of hurtling over the announce table. Seth hits a suicide dive, sends Braun to the corner table, and then another one. Table collapses. Seth goes for a third suicide dive. Braun catches him, goes for a power slam. Seth escapes, kicks him on the Spanish announce table, I believe. Seth goes up the top rope like to do a frog splash, and Braun just gets up and sprints up to meet him up there. Tosses Seth to the mat. Seth runs back up the ropes, trying to go for a superplex. Braun blocks, and then he hits a top rope splash himself.
Yeah, he
was selling knee, man.
He immediately started clutching that knee. It was kind of scary, but yeah.
It goes back to the chop block earlier.
Yeah.
So Braun picks up Seth, goes for a power slam. Seth instead counters with a sleeper. Braun starts to fade, and then just kind of tosses Seth off him like that. Seth hits the stomp. Braun kicks out at 1.
That was rad.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's always shocking when that happens.
Yeah, then Seth hits another stomp, and then Braun kicks out at 2. And you're like, okay, so he's getting him down an extra second every time it's a stomp. Third stomp should do it. No.
Nope.
Third stomp hits, Braun kicks out
And
again.
then you see Seth's face, and he's like, well, that's my finisher. I don't really know what I should do now.
So Seth goes for another. Braun catches him, gets him up, and power slam, but his knee gives out. Seth thinks, oh, I got another move I used to win matches with. Pedigree,
Yep.
then stomp. That gets him the win. Surprisingly enough, Braun loses clean.
Clean loss. I mean, he's looked as strong as he could possibly in a clean loss, but I kind of feel like, yeah, it's back to being perpetual plan B for Braun, which is fine. You just don't want him to go into, like, you know, territory of celebrity guy.
I know, which he's already done.
He's already done that. We just don't want him to go back there. So anyway, Seth goes up the ramp. We get the little trademark bug.
Yeah, we get the copyright.
And then that goes, and then the lights go out, and then you see the Fiend, and he's late. He's taking out Seth Rollins
With Sister Abigail.
with Sister Abigail.
And the lights go down again. They come back up, and he puts the mandible claw on Seth.
Puts his stinky fingers in his mouth.
And then lights go out, and that's the end of the show.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So the Fiend versus Seth Rollins
seems like it.
on the horizon. Seems like Seth is done with Braun at this point. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully they build something neat to Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I hope
And
so.
I want to see that Universal Championship on Firefly Funhouse. You know, it'd be awesome. What if they did this? They manufacture, they get together, they get another Universal Championship, right? So there's 2 of them. There's one that's on Firefly Funhouse that's just sort of on display there, and it's in pristine condition. Every time the Fiend comes out with it, though, it's in increasingly decayed condition.
It's good.
But then in Firefly Funhouse, it's still perfect.
No, what they need to do is have Tom Savini make a belt kind of in the same fashion as the Fiend's mask.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. I like it. So hopefully they can do some cool stuff with that. I think that'd be terrific, man. I mean, it seems like I wonder if it's a kind of situation where Fox doesn't really like Bray Wyatt might not be the thing that Fox really wants. Mm-hmm. But because he's so over right now, USA and Raw can do a lot with him.
Yeah, hopefully.
So give him the dang title, make it mean something, and make it cool. You know, make it really neat. Because the audience was not into that Seth match tonight. Like it was a fine match, but the fact that he just went over Braun clean, people really weren't into that.
No.
It's like, oh, they're doing the you're just Roman thing now.
Yeah.
I don't know. People aren't really into that, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it for the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back Monday with News Brief.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Starting at $1 a month, you can enjoy Going In Raw ad-free, gain access to the daily 30-minute Going In Raw post show, exclusive merchandise, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description.